Marnie's asked me to share, but thank you for listening to me today. It's a privilege. So I was Marnie's coordinator from 2008 to 2011. I ran the HIPPY program out at the area that Marnie lived in Auckland. Previous to that, I have a history of education, but I started from a low socioeconomic family myself, with low education myself, and I didn't get a degree until I was 40. My children were my prompt, and although I didn't have a HIPPY program, I became very passionate about education because I saw and I understood that it was the key to change. And I won't go into the quote, but Nelson Mandela talked about that education being the most powerful weapon for change. And Paulo Freire talks about building a critical consciousness or a thinking process that would enable people to create change in their lives. And that was my experience as a coordinator, working with lovely families out in West Auckland, and especially with women who felt that they had no ability to do anything except perhaps work in a factory. One of the interesting things is I'm very passionate about justice and obviously family and learning. And one of the things I found about HIPPY is that it is a tool that is embedded in the program is this ability to train parents to actually support them in how to successfully engage with their children and support their children's learning. And particularly because we live in an age where parents work as well. They're stretched. They don't know how to put enough time into their children. They don't have the skills. So HIPPY was a way of enabling those parents not just to learn from the one-on-one time with the tutor on a program booklet, but also from connecting together. And part of my job was doing that. After 2008, I went on to support HIPPY coordinators around New Zealand for about 9 years, and absolutely loved seeing the change, the fabulous change that it brought to families. Marnie's story, she's seen a bit of the photos of her children's success. But I have another story I'd just like to quickly share with you. I had 5 tutors when Marnie was a tutor. Marnie was Thai, Daisy or Desiana was Indonesian, Margarita was Samoan, Teresa was Samoan, and Luisa was Filipino. And this story is from Daisy. She wanted me to tell you how it affected her. She came to New Zealand. She had a doctorate degree in Indonesia, but couldn't work in New Zealand for immigration reasons and qualification reasons. And the exciting thing was she had very little English when she came. When I met her, she could communicate in English, but didn't feel confident, lost a lot of sense of cultural confidence as well, because she was dealing with not just English, but multiple cultures here in New Zealand. What she found was that HIPPY helps families gain advantage as it emphasises learning while having fun doing activities together. And this was quite different to what she'd grown up with in Indonesia and the Asian culture, which was just learn. And my culture from my growing up, which has shifted in Western learning now. And she's found it with doing the activities with simple things like finding items in a home and counting them, or sorting them, or naming them. She said it also increases the bond through reading HIPPY books together and developing language. And that language skill was really important in helping her to understand how schooling worked, because it connected her back into the schooling system. It developed her own reading and comprehension and helped her in that step-by-step, one-on-one, especially with English as a second language. But I think with even people who it wasn't second language, my experience shows it developed vocabulary and language, ways of articulating language that was that encouraged a greater, wider thinking for the person involved, not just the child. So the mothers really grew from it. She said that meeting new people in the community and exchanging experience to meet together built shared understanding and overcame fears. And I think parents isolated at home or parents with little education, there's a lot of fear. I had it going into university. I had no idea how it worked. I had it going into schools where teachers were more educated than me, and whatever I said wasn't right. They knew better. But I found as I was educated and as my parents on HIPPY were educated through HIPPY, they could go and talk to the teachers. They were excited and they came back with stories and they felt empowered. So I guess I should finish there. I think that might be time up, is it?
Yes. Well, thank you. But then during the Q&A, maybe you will be able to share more, because maybe people will ask your question as well, and maybe time for Ajahn Mani to help translate too.